All right. Well, let's get started. This is really, really exciting, everyone. We've been working really hard on this. 2 weeks ago, we released our Bolt AI assistants. Lots of AI innovation happening there. But then today we have kind of teased out our Bolt Discovery feature, and we can't wait for diving into it. So I only have prepared a few slides that I'm going to go over really, really quickly and to kind of give some context in here. But then Petter and Eric are going to go into use cases, and that's where you're going to get a lot of the amazing kind of insights and kind of dive into a lot of the exciting things that are that Bold Discovery can do and how it can transform. It's going to transform completely your school's websites. Um, One of the things that I mean, we can certainly understand that our most used sources of we actually just jumped right into it. We wouldn't even do any introductions, so we jumped right into it. I apologize for that, but when Eric and Petter, when you guys when it's your turn, maybe you can just raise your hand and say, "Hey, Eric is the VP of product and Petter is our CTO." But you can understand how excited I was, and I jumped right into it. So without sparing any time whatsoever. So, apologize for that, but really, really excited to kind of get going. And um, uh, if you're familiar with the expectations trend report, it goes out to about a few thousand students every year, and obviously one of the most used sources of information for any student out there or any constituent is the school's websites. 93% of those surveyed said that they use the university or college website, and then only depending on how many, 88% for 12th graders and 11th graders is about 87% find it helpful. So I wanted to set some context here because the website is the primary channel or the most important channel that your constituents and your students and prospects are finding information about your school. It's the most authoritative process. It's the most authoritative source of information. When you look at it, though, there's really five things out of the same report from last year that students find frustrating about college websites. And the number one thing is hard to find information about specific majors and programs. There's a lack of, it's very confusing for directions related to the admissions process. Well, how do I do this? Or what are the requirements for that or this? There's a lack of information about job opportunities for each major. So outcomes are super important. It's hard to navigate, hard to use the links. So sometimes that doesn't make sense, where they need to go and hard to find that information. And then there's a lack of information about admission statistics, some numbers, how many students, particular majors. So we go back to this program-based information, like how do we know what that product is? So that's very, very important. That's what they find frustrating about finding in those websites. And when you look and take a step back, we start thinking about, or the same report, this is around how students find information on the college website. Like, how do they go about navigating that information? How do they go about navigating that website? And 57%, they navigate through the links on the site. So they follow the menu in there. 46%, they use the search bar in there. Now, again, this is only a few thousand students, but that number is changing very drastically, and we'll show you in just a second. 30% say they link through emails. So when they get an email, they click directly to those emails to go to those particular pages to get that information. So it's very contextual to what they're receiving in their inboxes. And 23%, they actually use some planning websites. So they go to a college board or they go to other aggregator or planning websites in order to drive traffic or to go to your websites. And in a lot of those cases, they might be going specifically to certain pages or programs and so on and so forth. And 9% is chatbot. So they go directly to that chatbot. That's incredible, right? But remember that this is last year, 2023 data. So, as we know, there's been a lot of changes happening there. So these numbers are probably going to be really skewed and really different this year. So if you think about kind of the transition of how our websites were built and kind of what, how they are uh, what the information is and how do we find information on them. We go from IA to AI, so from information architecture to artificial intelligence. And information architecture was really, really important as someone who built, dozens and dozens of websites, working with institutions to kind of put the information architecture together. This was really a pain, right? It's like you had to get the information architecture correctly, otherwise people would not be able to find your program. They would not be able to find, and everybody was vying for those links on the home page. So something to think about. This was, basically we as the builders and the information holders, we were telling our consumers how to find information. So we're providing a map for them on how to do that. Now, fast forward, Google came around, and a few years in, and search engine optimization became really, really important. So now the consumer took not all that information was being crawled, and you can go into Google and try to find that information and then go directly to your site. So today, I would say, I believe the number was in the 60% or so. So actually, go to Google to search for your website and then go to your website, right? So even if they don't, if they know the URL, they're not typing it in, they're going to Google in order to click on that first link to go to your website. So SEO became really important because now it empowered the user or the end user to essentially figure out what it was important to them. So they could search for it and they can go directly to those pages without having to go to a home page, without having to go or without an understanding exactly how you put that information architecture together. Even though it still matters, it matters a lot, but now we put in the power in front of the consumer. Now, fast forward to where we are today, and tools like ChatGPT and other generative AI tools and chatbots came around, and now they're finding information very, very different, right? So over the past year or so, that has changed and has evolved. So rather than finding and going to individual pages and scanning, you can just ask for questions or you can ask for information, and then that's being generated for you. If you have kept up, Google has actually introduced what they call AI overviews right now. So you can go to Google and actually search for a question, and you'll kind of give you a little bit of information around that. So the patterns have evolved on how we find information or how the consumer is finding information. And something very, very important is that if you're not familiar with this is a stat, or this is a kind of an insight from Algolia. So Algolia is the private search engine that powers a lot of e-commerce sites, powers a lot of even university sites, searches. So it powers basically private searches where it's not Google, it's something else. And Algolia powers that, powers e-commerce sites and so on and so forth. So what they're seeing as the trend since ChatGPT came on the market, they've seen the length of query that people are using on their sites double. What that means, and this is the CTO. So what that means is that over the past year and a half, people are actually typing questions and typing longer and longer queries on the search boxes rather than typing keywords. So now we're evolving. So and we're thinking about this, and the method that we're searching is more generative. It's more question based around finding those answers, because that's what we're getting used from ChatGPT. So today's site users are expecting your site search to look like ChatGPT and get answers, not just links, right? So they're expecting your website and your website search to basically act like ChatGPT, and they don't care about the links anymore. They want answers. And that's exactly what we've been working on. We've seen this trend, and we are really, really excited about this, because that's kind of, if we think about, like, we want to bring in search, and not just search, not keyword search, but semantic search, meaning search. and we want to bring generative AI together. So now you get your content you're able to find, but then also use generative AI to provide that information to you in a very consumable way. So you put those two together, and you put, let's say, Google together, and you put ChatGPT together, and that's the experience that we've built for, with Bolt Discovery, and AI-powered search. That's exactly what we're going to talk about today, and we're going to give you a preview of that. And that's what Bolt Discovery is. So if you think about putting together Google search and ChatGPT, but specifically for your site, that's exactly what we built. And when you look at this, it's that we have built it on top of our existing knowledge base. So if you have an AI assistant, if you have a chatbot that is powered by the Element, then Bolt Discovery works on top of the same knowledge base. So the same knowledge base that is powering your chatbot is powering Bolt Discovery as well. And we get some very, very powerful things with that. For example, we get a lot of things like lead capturing directly to the CRM and so on and so forth. But this is again very powerful because we don't have to do anything, and we can just embed this everywhere. So when you look at Bolt Discovery, we get generative question and answers. You have things like follow-up questions because we want to drive students through that experience. You get citations out of the box, meaning that if the answer came from 3 different pages and it was put together, then you get access to all those 3 pages, so you can see exactly where that information came from. You do get lead capture, which is contextual and embedded right within the product. Things like easy sharing and threads. So if you want to share your whole kind of flow or your thread on your questions, you can share it with your parents. You can share it with, you can do it yourself and share it with the students. It's really, really easy. You can share it on social. And then again, we talked about the centralized knowledge, that it's the same knowledge base. What we've also introduced is YouTube video. So now we introduced another media type, another source type. So you can actually add YouTube links to the knowledge base, and we will use the translations and the transcripts and actually find information that was mentioned in those videos and bubble those up as well as part of the Bolt Discovery. Man, sorry, I'm running out of steam here. So we got so much. So a couple more. So embedding this anywhere, this is meant to be put into all of our websites. So remember that we want this to be put in our website so we can embed it everywhere. Of course, we have a first-party integration with our page 451 and our landing pages, but then we've developed a very friendly SDK and embeddable. You can embed it on your websites as well. If you have our chatbot, if you have AI assistants on your site, it's really, really easy to kind of add in the same experience in a lot of different places. So with that being said, I just wanted to go very quickly through this because the exciting part is for Petter and Eric to actually show you this thing in action. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to hand it over to Petter and Eric, and then I'll be in the background and I'll jump in once in a while if I have any questions, but I'll be able to answer questions for you guys through chat as well.
Thank you, Artis.
All right, thanks, Artis. Let me just get my screen share going here.
Oh, man, so I didn't have to go that fast, Eric?
There you go. You did. I think that's as fast as I've ever seen you talk, but it really speaks to how excited we are to talk about this. Petter, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, everyone. I'm Petter. I'm the CTO of Element.
Hey, and everybody, I'm Eric Range. I'm the Vice President of Product here at Element. As Artis said, it's pretty rare that you get to do groundbreaking announcements like twice in 1 month. So 2 weeks ago, we did Bolt Assistance, Bolt AI Assistant. So if you haven't seen that one, go check it out. It's available on YouTube. But today we're here to talk about Bolt Discovery. So let's check it out. Before we jump in and actually see it in action, Artis mentioned that it uses the same Element knowledge base that powers our other Bolt AI features like BoltBot and our upcoming assistants. So within Element, you can come in here and you can see all of the knowledge sources from different places. in this case, YouTube, URLs, websites, and very quickly stand this up. You can also use documents. A couple weeks ago, we did one of these discovery setups for a partner that all we had was like their 500-page PDF of their course catalog. We loaded that up, and in 10 minutes, we were having Program Explorer type conversations with Discovery. So really easy, really fast. And this knowledge base has about 1,200 pieces of information that we quickly loaded over the course of an afternoon for this. And shout out to our friends at Forsyth Tech and Devin and his team who are allowing us to use their actual content, because where Bolt Discovery shines the most is with the URL and the website content. So we wanted real life content from a real life institution to be able to share there.
I'd like to add a little bit on the knowledge base. So for people who might have been seeing this for the first time, so this knowledge base is actually something that we have been building for a course or like a year and a half. It actually powered our first release so far, BoltBot. And over time, as we added more and more to support the assistants in different use cases, and at the same time as the AI was advancing, there's a pretty popular product out there. You probably have heard about it. It's called Perplexity, which is kind of like an information search, and they're kind of like taking on Google directly and trying to change how we approach finding information. Instead of blue links, actually get the answers. So that's one of the big inspirations for us. As we were building our knowledge base and powering BoltBot, we were thinking, hey, like there might be different ways to also provide better web experience for students, not just being a chat experience, but more interactive. So that's kind of like how initial idea of Bolt Discovery came. And Eric, take away.
Yeah, absolutely. So Bolt Discovery has a lot of practical applications for students to find what they're looking for very, very quickly in this conversational way. So as Artis mentioned, one of the ways that you can leverage Bolt Discovery is how we've got it here. This is a landing page that is built right in the Element Pages Builder, and we will be releasing a custom component here for Bolt Discovery, where you have this nice interface. You can add some starters. Students can just hop in here and ask any question they want. So let's start with an experience where we have a student who has been talking to a workforce development person, and they've been sort of directed to Forsyth to find out about apprenticeship programs. So I'm that student. I could come in here and I could type in a question about the apprenticeship programs, but golly gee, we have these things called starters. And these can be put on different pages, so different starters on different pages for different contexts that might prompt students what they want to ask for. So to save my fingers, I'm going to go ahead and use this starter. So are there apprenticeships at Forsyth Tech?
So right now you can see a couple of things happening on the screen. You can see that on the right-hand side, you will see that there's a video that was shown. These are actually the YouTube videos that you entered in the knowledge base. This works like we are not searching the entire internet. You're actually controlling which actual videos do you allow. These videos that are here shown are actually selected by AI. So they will be in context of the question. Above, Eric, can you scroll a little bit on the top? So you can see the resources content piece. These are actually the cited URLs from which the content, from which we have found the answer. We will cite here all the URLs that you have entered in the knowledge base, and we use to find the answer. But also, if you use, for example, a text article, a document, or a custom answer, they won't be cited. But we will use them to inspire the answer. But basically, the resources here need to be publicly available. Below that, you can see the answer that was derived based on this content. You can easily copy that answer. And the thing that we really like are the follow-up questions below, because these are the main differentiators for driving engagement. Actually, when we were building this and testing, we were really surprised when we were like coming in and like, hey, we need to build a script for this to show you like some real use case example. These follow-up questions are really good because they actually guide you through like a real flow a student might experience. And yeah, so Eric, you can proceed. We can go in details later. But come ask about some other question in there.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's do one of these follow-ups. And, these are really interesting. And the first time I saw this and I got my hands on it, I fell down what I'm calling the 2020s version of the Wikipedia rabbit hole, right? Where you just dive deeper and deeper and deeper into these conversations and engage. So let's see what fields or industries offer these apprenticeships at Forsyth Tech. So here it is. They offer it in two different fields. So this is great, but let's do not maybe a follow-up question, right? We've also brought in new relevant videos here on the right. So every time we develop a new answer, we're bringing in additional context and additional information around not only what has happened previously in the thread, but around the specific question, the new question that has been answered or asked. Let's go ahead and see what classes this student might take. So because we actually brought in, they have a web version of their course catalog, because we brought that all into their knowledge base, we actually have all of the information around this program and what courses might be in that program. So students can really get a very deep dive if you have this information in your knowledge base. So again, we're citing several different websites across the top here. So you can see this student, to get all of this information, would actually have had to visit 6 different websites on your web page, or web pages on your website. Better?
Yep, and just something to how we got to this data, as Eric showed at the beginning, you saw that there was like 1,200 articles. It didn't take us a lot of effort to actually populate it in. As you know, like we are not Forsyth Tech, right? We're not building that information ourselves. So what we did, we actually wrote just a simple script and we loaded all this in about an hour. So it was an hour's worth of work to get all this working, so that you can have like a whole all your programs and all your courses in a single place.
So again, the student can continue to interact here, dive deeper, go into a specific course, find out more about what they would study in a specific course, credit hours, all that sort of thing. So now I'm really excited, right? I'm really excited to be able to, I love this. This is exactly what I was looking for. So I want to get more information. So you can see that one of our follow-ups here is, would you like more information to apply for this program? When I click on this, I get this really fast form to be able to capture the student's name and email address so we can follow up with them and understand exactly what was going on here. So while I'm typing in an email address, Petter, if you have anything you want to add on that.
Sure. So again, these what we call these are like lead generation follow-up questions. They will just pop in there depending on the context, and when the LLM decides that it's a good time to convert this student. When this form is submitted, this actually creates a lead. So if the student doesn't exist in the system, it will be created with his contact email. We will store a milestone so you can track where this came from, and also connect it to this thread. What also happens, because the student, as you can see on the left-hand side, Eric was testing this today. So you can see there were a couple of other threads that he created as he was searching. All these, because initially he was an anonymous user, all these get attributed now when we identify him, all these get attributed to him. So then we know that's the person who actually was searching all this information. And
Absolutely.
So now, Eric, proceed.
I did want to jump in here and just underscore. So what you're seeing here is we only have one landing page, and we have about 1,500 different single pages in the knowledge base. So that student is accessing all of that information, and it's a dynamic kind of Q&A based on the first question they asked. They got information. Based on that information, there's follow-up questions that get generated every single time. So it's really dynamic, right? These aren't pre-populated questions. These are questions that are generated based on the context above. So they're going to be unique, and the thread is going to be unique for every single person. So, and then on top of that, we have the ability to capture their information right within the context that they feel more comfortable getting all of this info as a lead as part of the website. So they don't have to get out of the experience. They don't have to go to fill out a form or an info request form. We're capturing that right within that particular experience. So amazing from a marketer perspective, and also from someone who is driving people and creating landing pages. And now we can back those landing pages with a lot more content and provide these unique experiences that we're going into.
Thanks, Artis. And while you were chatting there, I went totally off script to showcase another piece of something that you introduced in your intro slides. So in this case, we started a conversation right from that same landing page, right? So again, I didn't have to navigate someplace else. And in this case, I took a little inspiration from my own life and said, I'm interested in arts and technology, and I don't know what to study. And so in this case, I came in not knowing a particular path, right? And Bolt Discovery has bubbled up things that are relevant that Forsyth offers. And then I had a quick kind of thread. What jobs could I get after graduating with that graphic arts program? So here are some of those things. And then, of course, the $64,000 question. How do those jobs pay, and will it be worth it after I graduate? So all of that was all done very quickly in the 45 seconds or minute and a half that Artis was chatting there. So you can really see how powerful Bolt Discovery for drawing students in and giving them the information that they need very quickly without hopping all throughout your site. All right, so let's see another type of question or flow that maybe isn't focused on the academic experience so much, and one that probably would be very popular if this was out right now, but questions about the FAFSA and so forth. So here we have Bolt Discovery. I need to know when the FAFSA deadline is. So this is actually a little bit unique, because one of the things you'll see here is that one of the resources that this is quoting here is actually the student aid website. So one of the things that Element offers is we preload a lot of the content from, it used to be FAFSA.gov, now it's studentaid.gov. So all of that kind of universal knowledge around the FAFSA and applying for aid and that sort of thing is all available, and you don't have to load all of that information yourself. If you want to turn it off, you can, but that does come kind of pre-baked into the Element knowledge base.
Yep. And
but go ahead.
So the FAFSA content was already there for the assistants. So we just reused that. But one of the things that now, with the support of YouTube, we will actually be preloading the whole FAFSA channel as well. So all the videos will be coming from there as well.
Yep. So these YouTube videos are from the official Student Aid YouTube channel. So you can really see that. But this student is asking about that, but we don't only use that knowledge, right? As Petter and Artis have said, we use all of the knowledge in the knowledge base. So in this case, we're, how long is this whole process going to take? That's not something that's going to be on the general FAFSA website, right? So here we're combining information from the Forsyth Tech Financial Aid Frequently Asked Questions page and the FAFSA all in one thread. So you can see how powerful this is to bring in all these pieces of information that you've curated, whether they be documents, kind of our global knowledge base, or from your website and other locations as well. So one of the great things about this, and Artis referenced this is great. I'm behind my computer or I'm on my phone and I'm having this conversation, but that information then is just with me, right? So how do I share this really great curated information with others? Well, good news. We've thought of that. And here it is right here. You can share this entire thread. They're locked by default where only the author can view this. But you can make these threads shareable, and you can copy a link to send to someone. You can even share them on social, right? So if you wanted to share this on X, you could bring, oh, I'm not logged in. But you could go ahead and share this on your socials as well. And that will bring up an experience where they can come in to what we call our dedicated experience. And we'll show that in a moment, where that, your parent, your guidance counselor, whoever you're sharing that with, can see everything that you've done. And if they want to continue the conversation, they can do that. And when they do that, we actually create a new thread for them. So it's separate from that prior student experience.
And just want to note around the privacy and security regarding sharing. So if you make the thread shareable, you have like a unique URL that's accessible by everybody. However, Eric, can you maybe showcase an incognito window just to showcase this thread that was already shared? Are you already in incognito? Okay, that will share the session.
Yeah.
No, not important, but I'll just mention. So as long as the thread is shared, it's accessible using the public URL. However, that thread is not owned by anybody else, so nobody can make changes to the thread. However, they can continue asking questions on it. So if somebody asks a question, basically the whole thread is copied, and again a new thread is created just for that particular user. So it's totally secure, and students control the privacy.
Absolutely. Thanks, Peter. Okay, so those are just two use cases. We'll actually show another use case, or I guess that was 3 use cases. We'll actually show another one in a little bit, but for all of you who are wondering, okay, this is awesome, I'm in love already, love at first sight here. How can I use it, right? Where can we leverage bold discovery? So the first place, of course, as we mentioned, is here in an Element landing page that has been built in Element. So if I come to our pages area and into this landing page, in our no code editor, you can come in here and we have a component that you can add to our landing pages. You can also add this to your application sites pages. So if you want this component, it's available for app sites as well. And this is all fully customizable like many of our components, right? So you can change the look and feel. You can update the starters. So this is interesting because depending on the landing page, you may want different starters available. Now, in a lot of these cases, we are actually, what we're passing into discovery is the same thing as the title, but you can see here, just as an example, where I've said, at FTCC, but the message we're actually going to send in is something different. So just gives you a little bit of flexibility depending on what you want to showcase, but if you want to optimize that message in another way. So that's one way that you can leverage it, especially if you're on Element 451 already. Another way you can do it, and we reference this, is the direct link or the dedicated experience. So this is just the full overlay in a full screen way. We still, of course, customize it with the institutional logo here in the upper left, but this is just a dedicated experience. So if you wanted to use this and you didn't want students going other places, you just wanted them to leverage this comes delivered out of the box. And one of the things you can do with this is drive people directly to this experience and just let them go hog wild right in here. But the third way is using it on your own website and on your own in your own web properties. So with our SDK. So Peter, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Can you open the demo page?
Yep.
So here's a little demo page. You can actually, this is also publicly accessible, so you can actually use it, go there as like a piece of documentation. So with the first snippet of code, some of you might already be familiar. It's actually our shell code that actually installs the analytical tracker and also installs the messenger, but now it also installs bold discovery. So if you already have this on your website, well, good luck. I mean, all good. You already have bold discovery on your page. To open it up, you have different options. You can see the SDK below, and actually like pieces of code. How easy would it for your programmers to actually open it up? They can either call it directly via JavaScript, or they can just attach these. You can see this data, bold discovery question, data attribute on a button on a link, and that will actually our SDK will understand that and will immediately open up the panel using that. So you can see examples above, like for example, do you have a computer science program? Can you click that? That actually uses that same approach and immediately asks the question. This is a different demo account we set up, which uses the NC State University information, where we also loaded their whole catalog. So it's a good playground. And yep. So can you shut it down, Eric, just for a second? I would just like to explain one thing. So the JavaScript thing, the JavaScript code on the below, where you can see the shell41.bolddiscovery.open. This is really useful. For example, if you have already a website with FAQ and a search bar, you could replace your whole search experience. Just instead of navigating and using your search, you can just replace it with doing this bolddiscovery.ask. And also, if you have like already a list of FAQ questions, you can just replace like whatever they're doing right now by just appending this data bold discovery question or adding this little snippet of JavaScript code. So it's easy as that.
So really flexible, lots of options to be able to use this in lots of different ways.
Hey, team, before I know that a lot of folks are asking about what does it look like in the background. So I guess you were going specifically on that. What does it look like in the back end? So, take it away, Eric. I guess
absolutely. There's one other thing I just want to showcase from getting how you might use this in a email campaign, and then we'll show you what the threads and profile stuff looks like as well. So here's an email that I got after filling out an inquiry form, and they're promoting campus life here at Forsyth Tech. So when I click on this button, this button actually has a query parameter. The link has a query parameter in it and allows us to start this experience. So think about how powerful this is. And this is what it looks like in our editor, right? So we can direct students to a page, open discovery automatically, and have them start engaging with the content rather than being passive consumers. But because we offer tokenization in these links, you could make this, you could pull in their intended major as a token and pass that in as part of the question. So, I'm really excited to study biology, and they get a different experience than the people who are studying graphic design. So really, really powerful ways to leverage this.
And also this URL here, it can be any website that has bold discovery installed. So if you have it on your main EDU website, it will just work out of the box. But you can also use the direct link that we offer if you don't want to deploy this on your own website.
Absolutely.
So I want to just do a quick stop there. So the implications of this are you can drive now anybody to any landing page or any web page on your website through social, through ads, and get them directly with a question inside and start a thread passing in that particular question. So that's very, very powerful. So now you're essentially personalizing and connecting what that person asked on social, what that ad is all about. You can drive them directly to one of your pages and pop it open with all the context that you have. So very powerful, and more likely that person will actually submit a request for information form or submit that form as well.
Absolutely. Okay, so inside the Element dashboard itself, if you're an Element admin or an Element user, you can see all of these threads in a couple of different ways. I started here on people because I did want to showcase, here's Amber. She was the person who submitted that lead gen form that I just showcased during this demo. So you can see that the record was created because Amber didn't exist here, and that she got her prospect milestone from Bolt Discovery. And if I click on this thread, it will bring me over to the threads that she is involved in. So we do have this all threads piece. So if you're an Element user, this will look very similar to conversations, a lot of inspiration there. But you can now see that all of those threads that have happened during the demo today were tied to Amber. So you can see Amber is this one, is this one, is this one, is this one. And as an admin, I can come in and I can look at the types of things that Amber was looking at and what her threads said. I can also see where she was when she started that conversation. So here you can see this is the one that came from the email. So it had that query parameter in the URL. And here are some of the other ones that are driving to, but you could then see, hey, this came from the biology page, this came from wherever. But the real exciting thing is you may not need all those pages in the future, right? All you need is bulk discovery to showcase that information for folks.
It truly becomes an ask me anything bar. One of the questions that was asked in the Q&A as well was, can you show us an example of how this replaces the search bar? So that SDK that we're talking about, because different websites have different types of search bars, now that can replace that search bar because of the SDK. So that search can send any piece of information that the user types in to and then pre-populate it. So we just don't have an example right now because we can't kind of replace the university's website, but we'll add an example to our demo page where you can type in to an input field, which is similar to a search, and then that would pop open the bar as well.
Eric, can you go back to the demo SDK page? No, no,
wrong one. Give me just 1 second. Yes.
So this page, this is not an app. This is an actual, like a website page. We just built it in this way because we wanted to serve also as a documentation for engineers when they come in to be able to know how to integrate. But we'll add an example here also of like a search bar when you can enter. But also what we can do, we can also probably mimic a university's webpage and then like show best practices. That might be a good thing to showcase as well. But for now, this is what you can use to take a look how it works.
All right. Well, that is Bolt Discovery in a nutshell. Hopefully you guys are as excited about what you've seen as the three of us are. I'm not sure if there are any other questions either in the Q&A or in chat.
So while we wait maybe
real quickly
for the questions, I'd like to mention some things. So some of the future things we will be adding here because we are not done. As we mentioned for the YouTube part, we're adding a new type of article called YouTube channel. So it will act similarly to the sitemap that you have right now, where you can search through the whole sitemap and basically surface all the URLs you have. So in this case, it will just surface all the videos from your channel, and you can pick which one you want to load. That's one of the first improvements that's coming up. And one big one for the lead generation. You saw that form that was showing up was first name, last name, email. If you want to have a specific form to capture additional information, maybe like intended major or ask like for phone number, we will be adding support for custom lead generation form where you'll be using our own embeddable forms for that. So we have a lot of ideas what to tack on.
So one question that also came up, and there's a couple of things that we're going to showcase, but one of the questions is Bolt Discovery, are you able to talk back and forth with it? And the answer is this is meaning a one way. So the student is asking all the questions. The way that we're responding back is those responses, those follow-ups, right? That's how we're kind of taking them through that tour of the content and through the exploration phase. And if they need to talk to a person, we can detect on that, and we can open up the AI assistant's chat action. So because they're both connected that's something that we'll make available. So it can happen automatically when they ask a question, can I talk to a person, or that intent. That's not there, during this demo, but that's how we see this working, is that both of these products are connected together. Any other questions? If you are not currently a customer of Element for Theon, we'll be able to make just Bolt Discovery, or is it just part of the CRM? So no, the answer is that Bolt Discovery is part of our Bolt package on our website. So if you go to elementfortheon.com/pricing, you're going to be able to see that first tier there. So we're hoping that Bolt Discovery can be attached to any website, and it's just it essentially replaces your search bar as part of your website. And as part of that, you also get kind of chat automatically and assistance. So we're kind of bundling those pieces together. So you're able to kind of power your website through this.
So there's also another question: how does this play with assistants, and if somebody wants to jump off and talk to a real person? So we actually were thinking about that, and that's one of the integrations we want to do, is the assistants and Discovery will know about each other. So if there's a situation during the discovery that somebody cannot find information, potentially gets frustrated, they can hand off the person to the live chat, either to a person or to assistant. So you will not need to have assistants; it will just hand off to the chat where they can just proceed. It will act similarly to the follow-up questions and the lead gen, as you saw. It would just be like a follow-up. We'll be like, hey, would like to talk to a real person potentially, and then, or would you like to find information elsewhere, and then it will drive them to the chat if the chat is installed on the page.
There's also some choices we made on making this experience feel distinct and be distinct from AI assistants, right? Just think about your own exploration of whether you're shopping or whatever. There are times where chatting with an assistant, even an AI-powered assistant that is personified, is something you want to do. And there are other times where you want a different experience where, hey, I'm just trying to find the information sort of on my own and independently. And there's sort of a line to walk there, especially when you're talking very at the top of the funnel, or even current students don't always want to have that chat experience. Sometimes they just want to be able to find what they want to find and, move on to the next thing.
So given that we have a couple more minutes and we're answering questions very feverishly here as we're going through this, because this is something completely new, right? This is new in terms of how students are finding information on your website and kind of the experience. So Eric, would you mind opening up our page 451? And Petter, I believe we've added this as part of our pages. So now we can add on any link on our page, you can actually open up a, so you can, Eric, if you just add, for example, go to a button down below and add a component that has a button in it. Petter, is that on this page already?
For Bolt Discovery?
Yes.
That's why it's on the bottom.
Okay. So we can see on the button right now, let's go ahead and add a link to it. When you go to the link type.
There it is.
Oh, that's not there yet. That's not there yet.
Okay. Okay.
So the idea here, sorry. This is coming up. It's bundled with another release, another big announcement that we will not say now, but it's a really big one. So these buttons are getting extended. One of the features that will be there, you'll be able to select the type of the button, and one of the types would actually be to ask a question directly. So every button will be able to open also Bolt Discovery. But also additionally, in your text, you will be able to create links on the text and actually make that be clickable and also open Discovery. So that it will offer, like, basically whatever you want to open Discovery, you will have that ability.
Exactly. So rather than using the SDK, this is part of our page 451, and we have a deep integration with every link and every component in there, so you can trigger up the discovery experience. And again, your web team or somebody on your website on the university side, you can actually do that on your own, and you can trigger those communications, and you have some of the documentation in there. You can just literally add a little piece of information to any link, and you can trigger up Bolt Discovery. But because of our landing pages and application portals are set up with no code, we're having a deeper integration with Bolt Discovery as part of that, what you saw. And we've already added that component in there. So when the question was asked, can we see how you can replace a university search experience with that? Well, that's exactly what we did, right? So that component, it's actually just calling our Bolt Discovery. So that's just a search bar that we added in there.
And you can already hear all of the things, right? Like we're announcing this today, we're showcasing it today, but there's still a lot of work that we're going to do and put into this. This is sort of just the beginning for Bolt Discovery, which is another great plug for the Engage Summit. If you haven't registered yet, join us in 5 weeks to see the crazy amount of new stuff we've put into Bolt Discovery in those 5 weeks. So it's really, really exciting to see.
Hey, Eric, do you mind sharing that public link that we're using, the demo link page that we're using, so folks can actually give it a try?
Yeah.
So if we can share that in the chat room, that would be great. Yep.
There you go.
And I believe there was the Foresight landing page as well.
Yes, I can do the Foresight landing page as well.
All right. And maybe an example thread. We want folks to play around with this. So if we can just share that example thread with the Bolt Q&A. But I believe that's in the documentation, so somebody can just create their own links. Let's why don't we share one of your threads, Eric, that you created, so this way you can see how a searchable or shareable thread would work.
Let's grab this one. We'll share this shareable.
Yeah, it copies automatically the link.
Okay.
When you make it shareable.
Yep, perfect. And there's that. So you've got 3 links for me in the chat, folks. So you can see. And as we said, if you continue that thread that Amber started, you will get your own kind of version of that thread.
Thanks again. Hopefully this was exciting. We're really, really excited in terms of transforming this whole experience, going from how do I put together a catalog page or 1,500 pages to, or even if you have a PDF, you can load it up as part of our knowledge base. We didn't go too much into detail around our knowledge base. You can load up your videos, your whole video catalog, so students can actually get answers. If you have, we're going to load up all the FAFSA videos from the YouTube channel. You can load up any type of video that you want in there. So if you have lectures, obviously, we don't recommend loading lectures because those are usually for students. But if you have like really interesting lectures that you've recorded and you want folks to get access or to get answers from them, sometimes there might be an interesting use case as well. You can have now someone actually record videos for announcements, and they'll be searchable. So these are searchable videos, right? Searchable videos, they can give you back answers based on the transcripts of those videos. And you don't have to transcribe them. You just upload them to YouTube. YouTube transcribes them automatically. We bring all of that data into Element. We make it searchable, and then we incorporate it as part of one of the components as part of the knowledge base as well. And the future is really bright as we add more and more of those content types in there, like documents and social components and so on and so forth. Very exciting. All right, everyone.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.